Mary Conley, December 31st, 2019. This is an addendum to Ted Bundy newspaper route. I would like to juxtaposition trash cans are at the end of the driveway. 3 neighbors across the street can see you at a trash can. 3 neighbors on the side of the trash can can see you at the trash can. Not a good idea to go rifling through it. Back in the day, and this included even in my childhood up through the 60s, the back door was open. You could just reach in and say, Mrs. Davis, Miss Davis, anybody home? And if you wanted to, and you were not a rude person, you could, if you were a rude person, you could just walk on in. Nobody answer. What he more likely did is at the end of the block, you have to fold them papers into a triangle. You fold one over the other and put a rubber band around it so it can be tossed at the people's homes. Nobody see down there, but if they do, they see you're just packing your papers for the 2 sides of your bike and the basket of your bike. That's all you're doing. But in reality, you're watching Mrs. Greenland leave in her Oldsmobile. That's what you're doing. And you can double the amount of paper route that he had, because a lot of men would keep their porn in the carport. It was a big thing to have a carport back in the 60s. It was a status symbol to have a garage and carport, which was usually left open. Men didn't store that stuff in the house where the small children could see it. They put it on a high shelf in the carport. So let's say he's at the end of the block. He sees Miss Greenland drive off in her Oldsmobile. He rides up innocently now, and the neighbors say, oh, now look at the picture. Here comes a kid on a bike. Oh, it's a newspaper kid. Oh, he's pulled into Miss Greenland's driveway. If you're really nosy and looking through the blind, he goes to the door, knocks on the door. Now, you've got other stuff to do. He's going to try to get his monthly fee from Mrs. Greenland. The carport's open. You just push your bike into the carport, climb around, look on top of the shelves. Garage door's open. You just go right on in. So there you have it, because that's the way it was. And we're talking 58 to 61. And notice how he all of a sudden doesn't have a job. He has 2 car burglaries, auto theft, and some larceny and burglary. And he gets in trouble for it, and then 2 times, and the record's expunged, as it was in Washington State at that time. Doesn't say how the newspaper job went away. You say, well, he probably matured out of it. He said he did it as early as 12 or 13 through 15. So he had that newspaper route for a while. It's probably one of the longer jobs he ever had. From what I look at, I don't think he ever had a job that lasted very long. And now if you go to the other video where I said he manipulated the elevator at Wildwood and Snowmass, he had a job earlier at Olympic Hotel with multi-story. If you want a key to an elevator, I imagine they're all pretty much the same. He had a bucket load of keys. His girlfriend, he had a bowl of keys, house keys, all kind of keys. He could have had a key to the elevator. You just put it in. Now you're driving the elevator. Yes, there'd be a chance when you ask her to step in, there could have been another customer. C'est la vie. You just have to find another victim. You know, he could try multiple victims. She goes on her way. He goes back up the stairs and still standing there looking in till the next long-haired or pretty person comes. They're all going to be pretty at a ski resort, a fancy, expensive place. They're all going to be, most likely 75% of the woman would be relatively young and attractive. So he just, if that failed with her, then within a few hours or a few moments, another person may have come through. It's just a matter of having an empty elevator, and then he could do what he wanted with it. But I'll go back to the newspaper. No, you're not going to look for the stuff at the end of the driveway, because then 3 people on one side and 3 people on the other can see you. What's that guy digging in the trash? Now, if you're at the end of the block on the grass folding your papers, that's normal. You see the cars leave. He would also know, and this is another thing I'd like to say, when people went on vacation. So he could have free roaming if Mr. Trednick says, oh, we're going on vacation next week. You either stop delivery or could you put them right there in the mud room? You know, so he's got the key. He's going to go put them news and check on our house a little bit, Ted. And now I'm not saying he would take any big stuff, but he might take magazines, a piece of jewelry, you know, one small piece of jewelry. Did you lose it or was it taken? You know, and eat some food there, maybe take a girl's blouse or something. I don't know what his problem was, but I mean, think about it. he got in trouble for that eventually. And they don't say how these things came to the end. He could say, oh, yeah, he told his younger friend, he showed him the route, and there was a good transfer. He was an elfin. At that time, he looked like an elfin, faithful little boy. He wasn't, most of the time he wasn't suspected of burglary or odd stuff. Okay, that was just another little aside about the newspaper route.